Hello and welcome back to Small Screen Stories. This is the show where I go over all the news in the world of entertainment and pop culture, and I just want to make sure that everything's working properly. Yeah, it seems to be working well, which is great. Right, so this show comes to you on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And what do we do in this show? Well, we discuss all things pop culture related, which is really, really fun. So that's all stuff: movies, TV shows, comic books, sometimes video games, but not that often. All of these articles and stories I'm going to be talking about, you can go and find over at Small Screen, where you can find at small-screen.co.uk. If you could follow us on social media at Small Screen Co, that'd be wonderful. And if you could also like this and share this and subscribe on YouTube, do all those things. And also, we release this later as a podcast. So if you'd rather listen to this as a podcast, you can. You can get your podcast. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, then a 5-star rating would really, really be lovely. Thank you very much for that. Right, let's get straight into the news. And one of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about today was that Karl Urban is reportedly up for the role of Kraven the Hunter. So this is for a solo movie that Sony are trying to do at the moment. They're trying to get this off the ground. So we've heard before this came actually from Geekosity. So before this was out there, we heard from the Illuminati, I believe it was, that apparently they'd offered the role to Keanu Reeves, but then he turned them down. So now we're hearing that Karl Urban is now in the running. And you know what? Karl Urban is a much better choice for the role than Keanu Reeves. I love Keanu Reeves, and I think he's great. I think he's a brilliant actor, but he's not quite right for the role of Kraven the Hunter. There are many reasons why. One, he can't do accents, which is just, some actors just can't do them. We saw him in Dracula trying to do an English accent. It was terrible. So whenever he's trying to do an accent, or has tried to do an accent, it has gone badly. One thing we know that Karl Urban can do is accents, because the guy's a Kiwi, he's a New Zealander, and he does an accent in basically every movie he's in. He tends to do American accents, but then in The Boys, he's doing kind of, I will say it's a bit of a half-assed Cockney accent, but it does get better in season 2. But he's obviously got that in him, and I think he looks a lot more like Kraven the Hunter than Keanu Reeves does. And he's one of those actors that is not afraid to put his body through rigorous training in order to get the right look. He could do the Russian accent. Kraven the Hunter in the comics is Russian. And I just think he suits it a lot more. A lot of people have also been saying Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I'm not so sure about him in the role. I think, again, he's a brilliant actor. He's in The Walking Dead. But I don't think he's quite right for the role of Kraven the Hunter. Honestly, the only person I can think can play this role properly is Karl Urban. And Karl Urban actually has a history in comic book movies. Of course, he's in The Boys right now, which is based on a comic book. But he was also in Dredd, which was brilliant, one of the most underrated movies of all time. As I really do believe that. And what else? He was also in the Star Trek films, which aren't comic book films, but they are kind of well-known blockbusters. So he's used to all of that stuff. And I think this would be good for him. It's not like he needs it in his career, but I think it would be a really good role for him to play, because it would give him that solo movie that I think a lot of people, well, they know he deserves it, and also it would be a good thing for Kraven the Hunter as a character, but also Sony Pictures, because it would mean they'd have yet another really talented actor playing one of their characters, which is what they want. They've already got Tom Hardy playing Venom, and they've got Jared Leto playing Morbius. So why not add Karl Urban into the mix? And that's something that I think a lot of people would really, really like to see, myself included. Karl Urban playing Kraven the Hunter. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. If that's something that you think is interesting to you, would you like to see him play Kraven the Hunter? Do you have any other ideas, any other names come to mind for the Kraven the Hunter role? Do let me know in the comments. I honestly, the only person I can think who would do the role justice, apart from Karl Urban, is possibly Jeffrey Dean Morgan. But again, I'm not sure if he's quite right for the role, as I said before. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Right, so moving on from that, and moving on to actually our exclusive, and that's that. Again, it's related to Kraven the Hunter. Apparently, the very first person that Sony Pictures contacted for the role was Adam Driver, but he turned them down. And this is something that was brought to me a couple of days ago, and I found it really interesting. I always find casting stuff really interesting, like what happens in the world of Hollywood, how they actually managed to cast these actors, and who was originally up for these roles and what happened. Why did it fall apart? Well, I'll bring up the article right here. There's Adam Driver and Don Quixote, but according to my source, Keanu Reeves wasn't actually Sony's first choice to play Kraven. Adam Driver was. They approached him to star in the Kraven standalone movie they're making. Unfortunately for Sony, he turned them down. I then asked the source if they knew anything about who might be playing this role since Reeves turned it down, and they said Karl Urban is a name being thrown around a lot. I haven't heard if he's been approached officially by Sony yet, but I know they're interested in him for the role. So it goes back to Geekosity's their scoop that Karl Urban is in the running, is being looked at to play Kraven the Hunter, and again, he would be perfect for the role. He's got a lot of support online. As well, a lot of people saying that they would really like to see him play the role, and it looks like Sony thinks the same thing. But I actually think Adam Driver would have made a very good Kraven, but I kind of understand why why they decided to kind of why he decided not to take the role. And yes, I will say in my exclusives and things like that, I do often say that's that. So that's a little shout out to Kevin Feige there in the comments. That's something that I seem to say. Maybe it's an English thing. I don't know why. But I personally think both Adam Driver and Karl Urban would be really good choices for the role. I understand why Adam Driver turned them down. He's just come out of a big franchise, being in Star Wars. Looks like he wants to do other stuff, kind of more kind of down to earth type stuff. More independent stuff that he just finds more interesting, because being locked into a contract with a company like Disney for 3 movies is something that I don't think he really wants to do again. But let me know what you think about that. Is that like Adam Driver as Kraven the Hunter? Is that something you would have liked to have seen? It looks like Sony really wanted him, but unfortunately he turned them down. Looks like Sony was thinking, okay, let's get Keanu Reeves involved, and then he turned them down. So what's Karl Urban going to do? Is he going to say yes? I mean, I hope he does, really, because I think the role's good for him. But Karl Urban, of course, was already in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's played Scourge, and I think that character died in spoilers. Sorry, in Thor Ragnarok. But he died a very noble death, even though that character wasn't a particularly noble character. But let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Right, moving on. And I'm sorry, Kevin, Walter Hamada is not in the comment section this evening. He's not commenting. Don't know why. Maybe I'm pretty sure you've got people that know people, and you can get them to contact Walter Hamada for you. Right, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Emma Stone Cruella trailer that just dropped. I thought the trailer was really, really good. I thought it was really interesting. I think Emma Stone's a terrific actress. I think she's been brilliant in basically everything she's in. I will say I'm not the world's biggest fan of, I'm probably going to lose a lot of people right now, but I'm not the world's biggest fan of La La Land. I didn't think that was a very good, no, it's not that I didn't think it was a very good movie. I just thought it was a bit overhyped, and it didn't really deserve an Oscar, which it didn't get. Didn't get best film anyway. Moonlight got that one. That was a funny year, wasn't it? But yeah, it's one of those. She's one of those actresses that I think is brilliant in everything she's in, and when I heard that she was playing Cruella, first off, I was like, oh, an American playing Cruella DeVille in the cartoons is English, but she has been played by Americans before. I think it was Glenn Close that played Cruella DeVille in the live action version of 101 Dalmatians, but I'd never heard Emma Stone do an English accent. Then again, she was with Andrew Garfield for quite some time, so maybe she picked it up there. And watching the trailer, first off, the accent was brilliant. The film looks, I think, really fascinating. It's like a kind of origin story for Cruella, which I really do like. I like that idea. I think that's an interesting idea to do. And they're going down that route. They're kind of doing the Maleficent thing a bit, which they've been doing they've been doing a lot of this with their live action movies over the past few years. But I think there's something else here. I think there's something really fascinating about this film, about the fact that they're really not holding back. It really does look to me as though Cruella in this film is going to be absolutely bonkers. And people online are saying that it looks like she's going to be Disney's Joker, which, if you watch the trailer, you really do think that's the case. A lot of people have also likened her to Harley Quinn. I think she's more along the lines of the Joker, and I actually think she's worse in many ways than the Joker, because who on earth would get 101 Dalmatians, puppies no less, kill them all to make a coat? She is sadistic, and I think she'd definitely give the Joker a run for her money. But I just wanted to say that I really liked the trailer. I thought it was really fun. It looks like this film is going to be a blast. They might release it on Disney Plus. The fact that they're releasing the trailer now seems to think they're going to be releasing it on Disney. Seems to indicate that they're going to be releasing it just on Disney Plus and not in cinemas, because cinemas are still closed. Basically, all the world over, really, which is sad. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'll see it at home. I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there will also watch this movie on Disney Plus. It was due to come out last year. It's coming out now, thanks to the pandemic. And it's just one of these things that's happening because they really have to just get these movies out because there's a massive backlog. But let me know what you guys thought of the trailer in the comments below. Did you also get kind of Joker vibes from Emma Stone's performance in that trailer? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Right, moving on. Lucasfilm is reportedly looking at Zack Snyder to direct a Star Wars movie. So I was kind of thinking of running with this because there's a lot in here to unpack. So this comes from We Got This Covered, whose sources are telling them that this is something that Lucasfilm is interested in doing. They're very interested in bringing in Zack Snyder and getting him to direct a Star Wars movie. So personally, I don't think he'd be right for Star Wars, but I think it'd be really interesting. I also think it'd be quite a clever move. If this is Kathleen Kennedy that's behind this, I think it'd be a very clever move, because Zack Snyder's got a very big following. He's got very devoted fans that will literally watch anything and everything he does. And that's because he makes some interesting films. He makes some visually very arresting movies. And actually, Zack Snyder's voice in the Star Wars films wouldn't be something I'd be really against. I think Star Wars is in desperate need of some kind of rejuvenation, let's say. And it needs a bit of a kick up the bum. And that's, of course, after the recent trilogy. To be honest, two of those films I did like. I did like The Force Awakens, and I also liked The Last Jedi. The Rise of Skywalker I thought was not good. But could he really work with Disney? That's what I was thinking of. Would Disney, would that really be a good fit for him? I personally think he'd be a better fit for Netflix, and it looks like he's going to be doing... Well, he's finishing his zombie movie with Netflix, and that looks pretty insane, and I'm really looking forward to that. So I think that might be a better fit for him. I don't think Disney and Lucasfilm would really work. I don't think they'd work together. I don't think it'd be a good fit. I think he'd feel like he was just at Warner Brothers again almost, and just like even being more restricted than he was before. So as far as that rumor's concerned, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I would like it to, because I'd like to see, just out of pure curiosity, I'd love to see what Zack Snyder would do with the Star Wars movie. I think that would be bonkers. We're getting Kevin Feige, his Star Wars film. We're getting a Taika Waititi Star Wars film. We're getting a Patty Jenkins Star Wars film, and we're also getting the Rian Johnson trilogy. Apparently, he revealed that yesterday that that's still on. So that's a lot of movies. We're not getting the Benioff and Weiss one. We're not getting. I mean, there are lots of Star Wars films. Directors that were attached to Star Wars projects that are no longer they were either fired or left the projects. It's Lord and Miller. There was Josh Trank, which was that was a train wreck. Colin Trevorrow as well was going to direct The Rise of Skywalker, or I can't remember what it was going to be called when he was involved. So they tend to let go a lot of their directors as well. So maybe it's probably better for him. I mean, Gareth Edwards didn't actually get to finish Rogue One. I can't remember who they gave that to. It wasn't Christopher McQuarrie. They ended up giving that film to. I'm blanking on the name. He's the guy that's kind of developing the Cassian Andor series. If you can let me know who the guy is that ended up directing like the final third of Rogue One, I think he did the reshoots. He kind of oversaw the reshoots. Let me know, because I'm blanking on his name. But yeah, I don't think Zack Snyder would work with Disney. I don't think Lucasfilm and Zack Snyder would be a good match. Zack Snyder, incidentally, did reveal that a Batman vs Superman 4K remastered version is coming to HBO Max. He revealed that in his big interview with E-Minutemen. So that's fun. That means we're going to get to see not only we could maybe watch that before watching Justice League, although it seems like it's going to come after. But I'm actually really looking forward to rewatching Batman vs Superman before Justice League comes out. Yeah, so that's coming to HBO Max. But let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Right, moving on and moving to the news that apparently Bruce Wayne's parents will be evil in the Batman. So this comes from Giant Freaking Robot, and this is something that I'm a bit like, really? Because Thomas and Martha Wayne are, of course, normally depicted as basically saints in Gotham, which is why it was such a big deal when they were murdered, and also such a big deal for Bruce, him being there and all that. That's a big part of Batman's character, and Bruce's character as well. So would the idea of having them actually be evil, what would that mean, actually? Would that mean they're basically connected with the underworlds, with Gotham's underworld? That could bring in the Court of Owls, which is something that I actually think that would be really fascinating if they do bring that in, because Thomas and Martha Wayne, I believe, are both connected to the Night of Owls. Tony Gilroy, that's it, that's the guy. Thank you, Kevin. I knew you'd know that. But yeah, so could they bring that in? I don't know. The Court of Owls is something that I personally think that's a brilliant storyline in the Batman comics. It's kind of an underground society that's kind of what they're operating everything in the background, and that's something that I really do like. But it seems as though they're going down kind of more conventional route with some of the villains, having a lot of villains in there. There's the Riddler, there's the Penguin, there's all sorts of people that are supposedly in this film. So who knows? Maybe it might be like a mystery in which Batman realizes that actually, or Bruce realizes that his parents weren't as good as they made themselves out to be. I think that'd be quite interesting, actually, if they do that. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Right, final bit of, it's not really movie news, it's actually comic book news, but apparently AT&T is reportedly looking to sell DC Comics to the highest bidder. So this comes from Daniel Rickman, but actually the reason I wanted to talk about it, because Daniel Rickman posts a lot of stuff, but the reason I wanted to talk about it is because this is actually something that's been happening or been talked about for a long, long time. So ever since AT&T basically became Warner Brothers' kind of, how can you call it? They kind of they own Warner Brothers, and with that they also got the DC Comics part side of things, which actually, I'm going to be honest, doesn't bring in a lot of money. The comic books don't make as much money as they used to. That is the truth, and it looks like AT&T is just willing to either let it die. So basically, because at the moment it's not doing very well financially, so they're looking at either just saying, okay, we're going to leave it and not do anything with it and just let it kind of die its death, which would be a shame, because then that would mean the end of DC Comics and no more DC Comics, which is terrible. Or sell it off to the highest bidder. And this is then, there are rumors that apparently fans might be looking to buy DC Comics, which, I wouldn't be against. I'd be all for that. I think that'd be quite cool. But it might not be that. I mean, Marvel could swoop in and save the day and actually end up saving DC Comics, because you need DC Comics around. It needs to still be around. You need to be able to have that Marvel Comics, DC Comics thing, Image Comics as well. I mean, I'm a massive comic book fan. I think it'd be a massive, massive shame should DC Comics go under. And I really, really hope it doesn't. I hope that either AT&T keeps it alive, but it looks like they're just not interested in that. According to Daniel Rickman, all they're interested in are the kind of movie properties. So they keep the movie rights to these characters and TV rights, and they're just interested in doing stuff with that, like the films and the stuff on HBO Max. So I wouldn't be surprised, because they're not a great company, AT&T. Sorry, saying that, but they're not. They're kind of ruthless in the way they do business, which is why they're so successful, I suppose. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. It's something that I'm not very happy about. Right, moving on to TV news, and it's being reported that the Batman Beyond series will be starring Michael Keaton, and it'll be coming to HBO Max. So this is coming from Bounding Into Comics. And it actually links to an article, to a story that we broke, I think it was back in October, that Michael Keaton was signed on for a Batman Beyond series for HBO Max. So we did report that a while back. But they're basically saying that it's going to be a joint venture between HBO Max and the CW, which is quite interesting. I was thinking that the CW might end up being put to one side, really, as far as DC Comics properties are concerned. We already heard that the Wonder Girl series has been cancelled even before it started shooting. It's looking like the upcoming seasons of their DC Comics CW shows will be the last ones. So that's what Batwoman Season 3, The Flash Season 8, I believe, is going to be the last one, it looks like. And what was the other one? DC Legends of Tomorrow might also kind of end. They've been cancelling all the other shows, so like the Black Canary show and the Arrow show, which was the main show. They've all been cancelled. There have been reports that maybe they might bring some of those characters into like HBO Max shows, so like stuff like Teen Titans and Doom Patrol and that sort of stuff, and then they might add to bolster this, because they would need to bolster it. They'd add this Batman Beyond series, and it looks like Michael Keaton's on board. We were told he is. It's kind of gone quiet, but we were told that he's signed on, and it looks like they're developing the project, and it sounds like it's coming to HBO Max, which is what we were told. And I mean, Bounding Into Comics are reporting that they're also working with the CW. I'm not so sure about that, but that is at the moment that's the news. I really, really want to see this Batman Beyond show, because I think it is such a good idea. It makes so much sense, and it would really work. It would also really work as a series, more so than a movie, I think, because there's a lot of story there. If you've watched the animated series, there's a lot of story there, but they can really, really go beyond that. And Batman Beyond, and it's something that I think there's such an appetite for it. People are desperate to see this. People really, really want to see more of Michael Keaton's Batman, because, of course, he is coming back in the Flash movie as Bruce Wayne, as Batman, and it will be his 1989 version from the Tim Burton films of that character. So this Batman Beyond series would basically be a continuation of that. And we get to see what he's doing in the Tim Burton verse. I'm not saying that it's going to be like a kind of really kind of Tim Burton style type thing. They might kind of dial that back a bit and make it a bit more manageable, I suppose. Because if you rewatch those movies, I love them, but they have dated a bit, and that kind of Tim Burton aesthetic is something that I love. But it might not be very easy to do in a kind of on a TV budget, especially if you've got Michael Keaton in that show. That's going to take up a large chunk of your budget. So, I mean, I'm hoping that we get this. I've been told that we're going to get this, but these things are always developing. HBO Max really needs a lot of these kind of shows, because that's going to, especially now that it's been revealed that they are going to be releasing HBO Max internationally, which is great news. Still no news on when it's coming to the UK and France, actually. Those two territories are a bit tricky, given they've got very strong, like Warner Brothers has got very strong connections with Sky and Canal Plus in those countries. So that means that we might have to wait a while until we get to see HBO Max in the UK or France. But those are the types of shows that will get people to subscribe. A Batman Beyond show, I think, would really, really it'd be huge. The numbers would be huge. But it would have to be in as many territories. HBO Max would have to be in as many territories as possible. And that might be one of the key factors in whether this gets off the ground or not. It looks like they're developing it. They've got Michael Keaton on board, which is all great. But these things can still fall through. A lot of it hinders on how well HBO Max does. At the moment, their numbers are actually pretty good, considering that they're only in their first year. They're not Disney Plus numbers, but again, Disney Plus is available worldwide, so it's actually very different. You can't really compare the two. But I think it's going to grow, and I think it's going to grow exponentially as soon as it comes to as many countries, as many territories as possible. But let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Right, it's also being revealed, I think this is the Illuminati that revealed this, that a Constantine TV show is coming to HBO Max, but it won't star Matt Ryan, so they'll be recasting Constantine. It won't star Keanu Reeves either. This has got people Both very excited about it and both very annoyed. So I know Matt Ryan has a lot of fans out there. People love his version of Constantine, and rightly so. He's really good in the CW shows. But it really does look like his time playing that role is over. He's not going to be playing Constantine in the Sandman series on Netflix, and it looks like he won't be playing him in the HBO Max series, which is being developed by J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot. That's going to be a lot of they're doing the Justice League Dark series as well, so Constantine will be linked to that. So it looks like at the moment they're casting for the role. There were rumors that there were a bunch of so it was Riz Ahmed was one of the people rumored for the role, but apparently he's not attached to it. So I'll be interested to see who they cast. I'm really, really looking forward to this because I love Constantine. I love that kind of dark kind of area of of the DC Comics, and Justice League Dark I think is fantastic, and I think Constantine is a really good character. So I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully they'll cast someone who's actually from Liverpool. There aren't that many actors that are from there. Of course, one of them is Taron Egerton, but it looks like he's connected. He's attached to play Constantine in the Sandman series. So let me know what you guys think about that. If that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comments below. Right, moving on to, actually this comes from the Hollywood Reporter, and they actually reported that Lucasfilm is very likely to recast Cara Dune not only in The Mandalorian, but also in the future Star Wars shows. So this, to me, I was kind of starting this off after Gina Carano, of course, was fired for the things she posted online on social media. I was thinking, what are they going to do with the character? Are they going to just ignore it and just say, okay, we're not going to have her in anything else, and maybe name drop her a couple of times? I was more leaning towards that. Or are we actually going to recast her and get someone else to come in and play this role? It looks like they're going to recast her, and one of the main reasons why they might do that is actually because Cara Dune was a big part of Rangers of the New Republic, and they really, really want that show to go on. And without her, they'd have to rewrite everything, kind of go right back to the drawing board. It might be easier just to recast the role. It's not, that would be a Star Wars first, I believe. I'm pretty sure it would. And it would be noticed by the fans. And I know there's a large section of the fans that would be really upset about this. But they'd also understand, I think. I think they'd understand the need to have Cara Dune be in this show. If she's going to be a massive part of it, I think that would be really important. So we've been on the site, we've been talking about potential replacements. So there's, I'm going to say her name wrong. I say it the Italian way, I'm sorry, but Lana Parelli, but it might be, I'm not sure how to pronounce that name properly. That's how I was told. That's one of the names that's been put out there. Potentially Lucy Lawless is another one, who of course was Xena the Princess Warrior. I think that'd be fun if she was cast in the role. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people that could play this role, and I think they'd be very good. But there's always that fact that this role was originally played by Gina Carano, and she's got a lot of fans, lots of fans online, and I'm pretty sure they'd be really upset to see this be recast. That's just the way these things happen, that these things go, unfortunately, especially. It sounds like she was told on multiple occasions to stop what she was doing, and she just didn't. So maybe she thought she was unsackable, but not everyone is, unfortunately. And it's put both her and Disney in a really difficult position. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. Right, moving on to, I'm going to say spoilers here. So this is about WandaVision episode 7. So there have been leaked storyboards, and they're teasing quite a big moment in the show. So again, spoiler warning, I will say here, I'm not going to go really in depth in what the storyboards say. You can go and find that at another YouTube channel. There are lots. I think Superhero Buzz did a video, and was it Everything Awesome? I think they're all Everything Always, I think is what they're called. And they go into more depth into what these storyboards show. But it's basically to do with WandaVision getting Vision's body. And it seems like this next episode is going to actually reveal quite a lot. So I'm really looking forward to it. And it's going to hopefully we're going to actually find out what's really going on and what's going on with Wanda, specifically with Wanda. I can't wait for this. I really, really can't wait for this. It's coming out this Friday. Let me know how you guys feel about this, and if you're excited to see it. Are you as excited as I am to see this next episode of WandaVision? Let me know in the comments. And I'm going to round this show off, this episode off, with talking a little bit about what was one of my favourite shows of 2020, and that was Truth Seekers. So it was revealed yesterday that Truth Seekers has actually been cancelled by Amazon, which is really, really sad. Nick Frost took to Instagram to basically say how he felt. Well, not basically, he did. He let Amazon know how he felt. He was really upset by it because it ended on a massive cliffhanger. It was also, I think it was a really brilliant show, and I think a lot of the fact that, I mean, the reason they cancelled it was obviously because it just didn't do the numbers. But the thing is that the show was let down by marketing. It wasn't the show's fault. The show was a really good show, written by and starring Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Brilliant writers. I actually think it's one of the best things they've done in a long time. I actually think it's better than The World's End. They just marketed it poorly. There was, I mean, first off, I think Amazon Prime Video is not a very good streaming service. I'm going to be honest. I think it's just, when you go onto it, it looks ugly. It's difficult to find stuff. They were kind of promoting it on Amazon Prime, but not really. It wasn't really promoted enough. But now there is a petition to try and get this show back. So that's on change.org. It's not getting the numbers it needs, I'm going to be honest. But I wanted to talk about it a bit because I think this show is a real gem. And if you haven't seen it, I would really recommend you go and watch it on Amazon Prime. At the moment, it's got 153 signatures. So it's not, I mean, Amazon's not going to take this thing seriously. It's not like Amber Heard numbers, which again, nothing is on change.org. I think that's the most signed petition on change.org ever. But it's just upsetting. It's upsetting that the show was cancelled. This happens all the time, but something with this caliber of like talent behind it really should have had at least 3 seasons. You know, you got Nick Frost, you got Simon Pegg involved. Give it 3 seasons. You got 2 of the most interesting creators around, best actors around, really funny guys, and this show was really great. It was all about ghost hunters. And it ended on a great cliffhanger. It had some great actors in it, real potential, and Amazon just pulled it, which is annoying. It is annoying. And I am your father, Yo. Who you think is Pietro? I think Pietro is Mephisto. That's my little. Yeah, I think it's Mephisto in disguise. The reason being is that I don't know if you saw, but there were some Funko Pop figures that were teased, and on them it said Pietro Maximoff. And of course, if you know the character from the Fox movies, he's called Peter Maximoff in those movies, not Pietro. So I think Pietro is Mephisto in disguise, and it would make a lot of sense. It would explain why he knows that this whole thing is a facade. So I think that's what's going on. But right, with that, I'll say goodbye. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next episode. Again, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be really wonderful. If you could follow us on social media, that would be really cool as well. You can find us everywhere on social media at Small Screen Co. We also release this as a podcast, so if you'd rather listen to this as a podcast, you can. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts at Small Screen Stories. You can find me at EJ Lauder, and you can find the stories I've been talking about over at Small Screen. That's at small-screen.co.uk. And with that, I'll say goodbye. Thank you very, very much for watching, and have a lovely evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are. Cheers. Goodbye.